Greetings and welcome to a Prayerful Pause. I am Nancy Woodworth-Hill and amongst other things a spiritual director. Today we will look at an expressive art practice using haiku, which is a traditional Japanese poetry form. I'll talk a little bit about it more in a moment. If you're unfamiliar with it, it's spelled H-A-I-K-U, haiku. As human beings, we cannot not tell our story. Sometimes, though, we are unable to hear ourselves and are unaware of some inner work we need to do. The expressive arts, writing, crafting a poem, story, or song, movement or dance, mandala making, painting, drawing, and so on, can be very helpful in the process of learning to listen deeply to ourselves. With an expressive art, we make art to express ourselves rather than for sale or for another person's consumption. When we unleash our creativity, we reach into a sacred power that gives us access to our inner resources for healing, clarity, and creativity. We often find confirmation of our essential self, as well as new discoveries of God's invitation to wholeness. As Christine Waltner's painter and Betsy Beckman write in Awakening the Creative Spirit, writing a poem is a way to honor a memory, a new insight, or an important event, and giving it form through the beauty of language. It can bring a sense of wholeness to capture an interior movement through an outward expressive form. Poem writing can also be an act of discovery. By responding to an inner movement and putting it into poetic language, new ways of seeing are revealed. Writing poetry can cultivate practices of awareness, of listening deeply to our experiences and the world around us. So this form can be used to explore aspects of one's prayer life and dream life as well. So what images keep arising? You can give them a fuller frame with a pattern, the haiku pattern, and you can also write about your favorite thing, something you don't like, a dream, something you see around you, something that happens to you, or a concern, an image in a song or prayer or from elsewhere. So a little bit about haiku. It's a traditional Japanese form of poetry. The structure is 3 lines, usually unrhymed, with a total of 5 syllables in the first and last lines and 7 syllables in the middle. It's often about taking a snapshot of a particular moment in time and place, traditionally using imagery from nature. I'll give a couple of examples later. So first, a practice. Again, some things to do to prepare. Gather your materials, minimally paper and pencil or pen. If you wish, you can have a journal or some kind of other prompt nearby. And then bring yourself to your quiet center in whatever way works for you. If you don't have a way, perhaps you can use your breath by intentionally breathing slow and deep for 3 to 5 inhalations. So breathe through your nose and exhalations out through your mouth. In choosing an image to explore, consider where you wish deeper insight. Perhaps in response to an experience, a dream, a concern, a piece of art you saw, a song you heard, or one you can't get out of your head. Take your time. And if you can't choose between a few options, pick the one that has the most energy. And this energy can either be compelling or off-putting. You may wish to do some free writing journaling beforehand to assist with the process of finding out what's on your mind, and choose an image from that work. So working from your writing, you can highlight or select words or phrases, things that give you energy to use in your poem. And remember, too, that perfection is the enemy of the good. This poem is for your own use. Just give yourself permission to create. Now, if you're ready to sit down to do some writing, you can choose the traditional 5-7-5 syllable 3-line format, or you could decide to be freer. That's perfectly fine. I'd stick to 3 lines. Determine your subject matter as we just discussed. And you can use short phrases. Well, actually, you'll find that short phrases can evoke emotion. So, for instance, traditional Japanese sense of using nature, you could use crocus or daffodil for spring. Don't need to mention spring. And images will set a mood with very few words. You could choose what the Japanese call a cutting word to create a contrast. You can use punctuation to connect and contrast your ideas. Now for the fun part. Put pen to paper and let yourself be free. When you're finished, you could sit with your poem or choose to sit with it later. Choose to give yourself permission to return to it. How does your poem invite further reflection in your life? Here's a set of questions that you may find helpful. In dream work, they're called the 7 magic questions. What you do is pick an image from the poem. It could be an unspoken image or one that's directly in the poem. And through the lens of this image, answer these questions. I am. So you state the image, and that's where you work from. My purpose in being this is. What I like most about being this is. What I dislike most about being this is. My greatest fear about being this is. My greatest desire about being this is. And if there's one thing that I, the image, can tell you, the author of the poem, it would be. So here's a couple of haiku that I have written. They're not perfect, but I'm willing to share them. Undulating arms, ancient rock embracing me, Antelope Canyon, which is a slot canyon in northern Arizona. Amazing experience there. Here's another. Silent sets the sun, withdrawing light yet again, leaving inner flame. You can tell it's winter time of year and ponder light often. So I wish you many blessings as you explore this expressive art form. You may consider supporting this ministry by sharing this video. Go in peace.